We're live.
We are live. Take it away, Madeline.
All right, everybody. Good afternoon, YWCA viewers. This is Series 2, Episode 18 of The Butterfly Effect, sponsored by Pursuit. Pursuit provides businesses with affordable loans and resources so that they can transform and grow. They're an Albany-based, community-focused lender 100% invested in the success of their clients. If you are a small business owner looking for funds to start, grow, or recover, you can learn more at www.pursuitlending.com. This, Butterfly Effect, is an empowerment series where volunteer hosts interview inspiring women in our community. And today we have the inimitable Kim Siciliano, who is truly an inspiration. Every time I have had a conversation with Kim, our meetings, casual conversations, more formal meetings, I always leave feeling that, first off, the YWCA is in great hands. And I know that the community has a fantastic advocate. So I'm very honored that I have been hooked up with Kim for this. It's a feather in my cap, believe me. So Kim, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Madeline, one of my mentors, guides, spiritual connectors here in Schenectady, who I certainly feel the same way about in regards to Habitat having, an amazing leader at the helm there. So this is going to be fun and exciting because when Madeline and I get together, we're usually laughing and joking and, have a great way with words. So just be prepared for a lot of fun here. And I do want to thank Pursuit again for their sponsorship of this, because we couldn't do this work without them. And they've been amazing in supporting women, talking with women and having these conversations that are, fun, and they are, inspiring, and we get to hear from people that wouldn't necessarily get on these types of events. And so it's been an eye-opening experience. So a little bit about me. Well, this is 20 years at the YW. And I will start by talking about, personally, I have 3 sons, and I started my journey in adulthood, if we want to say that, looking to work in an area where I was going to be helping a community. And I wound up here in Schenectady in 2001. Prior to that, I had worked in East Greenbush at Greenbush Child Caring, overseeing the before and after school programming, running their summer camp. I also worked at Camp Scully as the program director there for a number of years, which is an overnight camp run by Catholic Charities. Prior to that, I had a lot of YWCA experience as a counselor. I taught basketball, I taught gymnastics, I taught swim lessons, I worked at summer camp. I was a camper myself at Camp Siwakamano in Shokan, New York. We went through the groups were the Catskill, the Esopus, the Mohicans, and the Tanchis, and then I became an LIT, which is a leader in training. So I'm going way back. So I've been in this kind of work since, I could babysit, basically, working in the community, working with folks, working with kids and adults and seniors. And here I am at the YW 20 years in, with lots of exciting stuff going on and having mentors like Madeline Thorne and Deb Schiff and, Joe over at Mohawk, who is retired, but now I've met Steve. So just a lot of great people in Schenectady, Amari from Sikkim, that you just have to get connected with.
Right. So the folks you've mentioned, they've been inspiring you now, you're working with them now. How about when you were young, Kim? Can you think of who inspired you when you were young? Who did you look up to?
Sure. So, Madeline, if I would have known you existed, it would have been you. But since I didn't know you then, I'm going to go with my mom. My mom is a little spitfire. She's 4'9". And she, and I'm 5'7", but my dad's 6'4". So my mom, when I was younger, was one of the first, in my mind, it was the 70s. And most moms stayed home, at least on my street. Moms were home, dads went to work. My mom worked for McDonald's. She was a bookkeeper and an accountant. And so she worked for a McDonald's chain in Kingston, New York. And she was on the go all the time. And she was not a stay-at-home mom. So I was a latchkey kid. I would go to before and after school. And so care at the YMCA in Kingston. So my mom was an inspiration for me. And then a number of teachers that, you know, I could name all of them, but there were a number of teachers that, you know, said, go for it. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And so I think those types of people, you think back now, because I turned 50 this year. Yes, I'm sharing my age.
Okay.
That you look back and say, that was a moment for me. That was defining. That was when I really felt like I had been given an opportunity.
So from a professional viewpoint, who would you consider was a mentor to you, maybe in your younger career when you were starting out?
There was a woman named Phyllis Tolbert, and she is a friend on Facebook, so maybe she'll see this, who worked at Greenbush Child Caring with me, who I just thought was the bee's knees. And she was just this fabulous woman. And I know she won't mind me saying this, but she was a hippie through and through.
I already like her then. I already like her.
But just so fabulous. These curls, glasses, just this woman who knew her work, knew her job, loved people, was kind, was generous, was helpful. And she just, you wanted to be around her because of her energy, her spirit. So I will give a shout out to Phyllis because I was young then. She was the program director. I started there as the assistant program director. So she was, and that was my first real job, even though I had been working for many years. But Phyllis was somebody who I definitely looked up to.
So Kim, you're now the CEO of the YWCA. You're not an executive director. You are a CEO. How did that happen? How did that come about?
Sure. So that's a great question. In 2019, I was the executive director from 2016 to 2019, and our board had a lot of discussions going on talking about our bylaws. And we talked about, as a women-run organization, that it was important that we empowered not just me, but the YW staff team to make sure we were as forward thinking as we should be in 2020. So by the end of 2019, a vote had come forward in December from the board changing my title from executive director, because many times you see executive director assigned to many women focused positions, and CEO you see assigned to many male focused positions. Well, we wanted to kind of flip that script a little. And so at the end of 2019, a vote was made by the board to change my title as well as to give me a vote on the board. Prior to that, no executive directors had a vote. So now I actually have a stake in the claim of the work that we do with a vote, you know, and that really does feel important to me. And I thank the board for making that decision and for making that change and for noticing that need at this organization.
Okay. So how does your identity, you know, as a woman, you identify as a she, her?
She, her, yes, please.
Okay. So how does your identity as a woman, how does that play a role in your present position? Do you think it's different because?
You know, so part of it is I'm a white woman, right? So, and one of our major mission components, number one, is to eliminate racism. So what we've been doing this year at the YW, and what I've been doing personally, is reflecting on what that means for the YW as we move through our diversity, equity, and inclusion work with our staff, with our community, with our constituents, with our board. That my whiteness as a white woman, where does that empower me to be an ally, to be an instigator, to be, you know, on the front lines, to be a supporter, a guide, whatever that role is in that work. That's what's in evolution right now here at the YW for everybody. We're all working on that. But for me as the leader, I'm also finding my voice, finding my way to make sure that I'm standing up for everyone in our community. And that has been a journey for me this year that I think we've definitely needed to be on. And it's hard work. And I want to commend the staff here for being on that journey with the team. But it has brought up all kinds of new things for me as a woman working in this role. I never thought that I couldn't do this work. I guess that's my privilege, right? That's my privilege. I never thought I couldn't. I just always assumed I would. Not everybody has that opportunity. Not everybody thinks that way. So we want all of our young women, all of the women in our community to feel like, I never thought I couldn't. I just did it. And that's the message that I think as the leader of this organization that can be put forward. You can do it and we can help. And, always look back and see who you can help with a hand up so that they can now feel that same feeling of empowerment that you may have.
Wonderful. See, that's why I love you. That's it. That's why I love you.
I love you too.
So let's say you're walking down the street and here comes 21-year-old Kim Siciliano. I'm going to give you the name Siciliano, but
sure.
So here she comes. She's strutting down the street because I knew you were strutting.
I was strutting. I was in college.
What would you say to yourself? What would you talk to yourself about?
Girl, get it together. I was in college. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts in SUNY Plattsburgh overnights while my friends were all out at hockey games. I was making the donuts with Leona. She was a 90-year-old woman who worked in the back of Dunkin' Donuts in Plattsburgh, New York. And I loved everything about going away to college, but I knew graduation was coming. And what I would say to myself is, you got this. Like, find your dream, find something that you love, find the thing that makes you get up in the morning and want to go to work every day and do that work. But also don't, make sure that you're keeping in mind that there are other people involved. This is a people's kind of work. You don't do this work without touching people. So it's not just you, always keep in mind that there's a greater whole that you're working with when it comes to this community service work. You're affecting a community, you're affecting an individual on any given day. And sometimes you have to make the right decisions, but the hard decisions, and don't be afraid to do that. Like, sometimes you have to be the voice of reason among a sea of people who just aren't seeing it, or you're also the person who's standing back saying, I never thought of it that way. So be able to play multiple roles. I think that's important.
So what do you think you would want other women to know?
Take time for you. I think that's critical. And I know we've talked about it a lot on this, the other butterfly effect conversations, but what does that look like for you? There was this great post on Facebook that said, going to the grocery store is not a break. Going to the dentist is not a break. Dropping your kids off at practice and sitting there while they're at practice is not really a break. So we can't expect that these things that we say, oh, that's a break, you really got to get away. That's not what I'm talking about, because that really isn't a break. It's part of your day. I'm talking about, meditation. I'm talking about, do you go for walks? Do you make sure your space is inviting? I have plants here in my office. I have crystals. I have oils. I have, a salt lamp that, those types of things that make you connect on a deeper level, whether it's spiritually or mentally or physiologically or physically. You want to make sure you're making those connections in relationships with people as well. Try to get away once in a while and not think about what's going on back at the ranch. And I think that's helpful for women to hear, that you've got to disconnect, even though we always want to be connected. That's a hard pill to swallow. It really is.
Yeah, it's hard. So you and I have known each other for a few years. What's the question that I should be asking you? What would you get interviewed, you get talked, you're on a lot of programs, Kim. What are we not asking you that we should be asking you?
I don't know. I mean, we could talk about, I don't know. Part of me wants to say, do you have any pets? Like, that's an easy one. Yeah, I've got pets and they mean a lot to me, but I don't know if there's a real question, like, where is your heart? Like, I think I'm pretty transparent. So to come up with a question, like, you could ask me anything and I'd probably answer it pretty honestly, whether it's crass or inappropriate or, I don't shy away from much.
No, you do not. No, you do not. And that's
I can't really think of a question that, you know, we could talk about which way do I flip the toilet paper? We could talk about where would I want to go if I had the opportunity to go anywheres. And I'm not even sure how I would answer that because there's so many places. So I don't know, Madeline. That's a good, what question have I asked you?
Do you find it, I'm throwing this one at you, Kim.
Throw it.
You have, your home life is testosterone city.
Yes.
Husband, 3 sons. Your work life is estrogen center.
Mm-hmm.
How's that jive for you? I mean, do you feel different energies at different times, or do you just float above it and you're just Kim? And
no. At my my level of expectation, Madeline, is beyond many people's ability to fathom. And home life, I mean, and you can ask my husband, God bless him, and my 3 boys, that I'm even more of like a director at home, like the CEO of the household, than I am here at the YW, where it's a much more team like oriented. Like that's a great question, because I feel like I kind of sit back and let the team do what they have to do. Of course, yes, I have a voice here, but I want to make sure that the team gets a voice, gets to speak, gets to talk. Whereas at home, it's more like, okay, mom's got all this handled for us. Mom tells us where to go, when to get there, you know, and she's doing all of the work there. And so I think there's a flip there. I feel more of a leader. I don't know. I can't explain it. Yes, there's different energies. It definitely is different energies. I'm more crass and sassy and outspoken at home with my kids, who are all 12, 17, and 19 young men, and my husband, than here, where I know it really, not that we don't have the team atmosphere at home, because my husband works side by side with me. Thank you, Peter. But I just feel like I'm like the schedule keeper, the calendar keeper, okay, what's coming up next keeper. And my husband's the doer in that role. Like, okay, and where do you need me to go now? And then off we go. We go in our separate directions. So yeah, there are different energies, but my home is also my peace center, where I can go and meditate upstairs, or I can go in the backyard and sit on the deck, which I'm sure you've seen my post where I'm sitting outside having coffee, sitting by a fire for 10 minutes before I get up to go to work. Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, there are different energies, but I've created a Zen kind of space here in my office too. I try to just find little pockets of peace.
Okay. So what excites you? What's your special talent? What do you like to do when you're not doing
I like to hang out with Madeline Thorne when I'm not doing things, but what excites me? Well, this stuff going on here at the YW. Wow. Oh my goodness. We are this close to a groundbreaking date for our Harbor House project in the back, 54 more units of housing, waiting for that last piece of funding. We are this close to getting ready to move into our new shelter that we are purchasing from Northern Rivers. So we'll have a new domestic violence shelter before 2022. That's contract and already moving forward. There's been a lot of work that's gone on here, the accessibility ramp, the partnerships, you know, Habitat for Humanity working with us to get that so that anybody can get into the building. Amazing. Like those types of things excite me. I've been going to lunch. Madeline and I had lunch. I've been going to lunch with a lot of executive directors and CEOs and program staff in the community just to say, what can we switch? What do you got that I need, and what do I have that you need? And whether it's information or it's supplies or it's office space, we are lucky now to have an office up at Sikkim, which is great. And we also have an office at the Boys and Girls Club where we have staff now. So working with area executive directors who are just like, okay, now, and we're going to provide training because of that office space. Or we're going to work with your staff to make sure that we are the first referral when you have somebody who comes in and says they're having the domestic violence situation. Like just these great community partnerships and this renaissance in Schenectady that nonprofits matter. We're important. We're needed. And we're the core. We're the core of what's, working with businesses, working with government. Nonprofits are, to a certain degree, the glue.
And I think in Schenectady,
Mm,
there's a collaboration that
yeah,
is rare, and
yeah,
we're very lucky because we do have a lot of open doors
yeah.
between not-for-profits, and it's only for the betterment of the community and to make all of us a little bit stronger. So we are, I think both of us are experiencing very
Yeah.
nice thing that happens in our community.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Personally, what excites me, that's professionally what excites me. My board is amazing. They're great. They're on target. They are up to date. They are forward thinking. That excites me. Personally, what excites me, my kids. My Nicholas is
Yeah.
away in Wanakina, New York, which is up by Cranberry Lake. He's becoming a forest ranger. Very exciting. My Nathaniel is graduating this year. Just got his cast off today because he broke his wrist, and he's starting a job at Target. And my Nevin, who's only 12, and he's working through 7th grade, first year back in real school since 5th grade, and he has ADHD, and I'm really proud of him that he's able to work through all that. And my husband, who is there side, by my side, as much as I'm difficult and, have really high expectations, and I'm tough to live with, and I'm demanding, and he'll say yes to all of those things, but we still love each other. So that's key. So all those things excite me, that I have that bounty, that blessing.
Yeah. I've met your boys, I've met your husband, and you have a very, very fine family, and they are your biggest fans. They are. It's
They're
obvious.
great. I love them all.
So tell me what the best piece of advice that you ever received. Best piece of advice.
I'm going to take it from a show because it's a more recent show, and I'm going to use Ted Lasso, which, if you haven't seen it yet, there's a couple. Be curious, not judgmental, and have the mind of a goldfish, the brain of a goldfish, because how long can they remember things? 10 seconds. And then they forget, and then you have to start over. You have to figure it out, and you have to take things at face value rather than carrying them around forever. So that's good advice that I've picked up on most recently. Advice from my past, advice, like, keep your expectations high, because you'll always have something to reach for. If you keep lowering your expectations, then you're accepting something that, in yourself or in somebody else or in a project that may not be ideal for the people that are involved. And always thinking about what is best. Let's aim for that. If we don't make it, then we're good. But let's not just go for good, because if we don't make it, then we're mediocre. So it's keep your expectations high, because you have an opportunity to reach them.
Did you ever hit a wall, Kim? Did you ever hit a hard no and you thought, I can't get around this? Did anything ever stop you, be it for a day, be it for a week?
Yeah.
And then you found your way around it, or?
Yeah. Personally, when my grandmother passed away, which was last year, was a very difficult time for me, because she had always been there, and she was a rock. She's amazing. At 16, she had been hit by a garbage truck. She almost died, but lived. Died when she was 96. Married my grandfather. He was from Austria. I mean, just that was tough for me to see grandma not be here. Professionally, in 2017, when we said we were closing our doors, we literally had a meeting with the board and said, I don't have a path here. We've done what I thought we could do, and what is everybody else's thoughts? Then the team came together, which is amazing. And people started saying, well, what if we did this, and we changed this, and we fixed that, and we cut this, and we started making all these adjustments. And, but that was a wall. I mean, that was when I was doing yoga 23 out of 24 hours, because I was trying to just de-stress myself, because my anxiety level was really high. And I was really concerned that I had just stepped in and nothing was going to come of this, that this was going to be the end of us, and I was going to be the person to close the doors. But that's not what happened. I mean, the team came together, and the staff and the community and the board, and said, get over it and let's go. We can do this. We can figure this out. And we just did, little by little by little by little. That was the wall.
Okay. And I think probably one of your strongest attributes, if I may speak as one of your strongest fans, is your ability to listen, and that you do take in other viewpoints and other sources, and you marry them into your vision. So you're good at melding people together and viewpoints together. And I think that's only been for the benefit of the YW, because you certainly have become a not-for-profit that is not only answering today's challenges, but also you see a growth pattern, and you're being really creative, really creative.
I think creativity is one of our biggest attributes here. One of our biggest positives here is that, and we've had these conversations a number of times, like, if you have an idea, bring it forward. Let us know what you need, what you want, what we should be doing, what we can do. We're going to try to make it happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen as quickly as we want it to. For example, our Harbor House project, we're going on, this is 3 years, but we didn't give up, right? We didn't say, oh, we'll just take another path and we're this close. So I think it's also sticking with it. And keeping your heart in it. Like, what's your heart telling you? That's another one from Ted Lasso. Like, from your brain, go down to your heart, and then your stomach, your gut. Take that path. And if all three are in alignment with what you think you should be doing, then you're doing the right thing. If you take that journey and you're like, oh, my gut is off, this doesn't feel right, or my brain is telling me no, or my heart is telling me yes, you've got to find where that alignment is, and then work that out, and then take the path that leads you that way. So I think that's also a great thought to have in the back of your head. Where's the alignment? Those are the chakras. Your whole body has to be in alignment.
Well, we are coming up on 1 o'clock. I'm a little concerned that Kendra's going to come in here and yell at me for keeping this going a little bit too long. But Kim, I think you and I could talk for hours.
We could.
Because we have. Is there anything else before we tie this up that you would like to bring forth? Anything that that I've missed that you would like to address to these nice people that are listening to the Butterfly Effect Project?
First of all, I think this is the last episode of this season. So I want to thank everybody for being with us for 18 episodes. Second, I want to say I'm honored that I was chosen with Madeline to be on the last episode, because it's always fun to get together with Madeline.
Always.
Third is that if you haven't met Madeline, you need to, because she is a force to be reckoned with. And she has been my friend since the beginning, back when I thought we were not going to be here much longer, and supporter and a guide and a mentor. And 4 is that keep your eyes and ears open about what's going on at the YW, because we have a lot of stuff going on every day. And we're here to help. Domestic violence, housing, early learning, we're here. So you just call. There's the number. It's on the screen. Yeah. And we can support people in our community with those services, and most of them are free. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. And I think those were my things that I wanted to share, and that we wish everybody a happy, healthy, safe holiday season, and end of 2021. And
I have to jump in here. Kendra will have my head. I
Yeah.
have to jump in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about how we would like to remind your audience.
Yeah.
That the Y is accepting nominations for the 39th Annual Achievement Awards Luncheon.
Yes.
To be held on March 29th at the Rivers Casino. Nomination forms can be found on the YWCA's website, which is www.ywca-neny.org. Submit your nominations by November 24th. For those who don't know, this is a fantastic event recognizing the achievements of many of the women across the Capital District. So if you know of a woman who has done, something outstanding or noteworthy, and that person deserves some recognition, please nominate women supporting
Men could be nominated as well.
Okay. All right.
Anyone who has made achievements in eliminating racism, empowering women, and promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. So anybody who has that type of work going on, that's got some, done something amazing in those areas, we'd love to definitely acknowledge them. And I want to remind you about Festival of Trees, right?
Yes.
So we have our Festival of Trees event coming up. It starts December 1st. And we are going to have tons of trees here and at the Historical Society. People can come in and view it 9 to 5 every single day, even on weekends. It's a great way to kick off your holiday or to end up your holiday.
Right.
But don't forget that those trees are done by businesses, nonprofits, and different community groups. And we're also going to be in the parade this Saturday, and Illuminosity, which
Right.
we were talking about earlier. We are paired up with Palette. And so we're going to be decorating Palette for the Illuminosity event that's happening in the city of Schenectady. So lots of exciting things coming up for the holiday. If you have donations, call us. Numbers at the bottom of the screen. And that's it. Madeline, you're fabulous. I love you. And
I'm living. We're both living
we
the
have
life.
to set up
So
watch
it's
again.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kim. Thanks for allowing me to participate in this interview. Thank you to Pursuit for sponsoring this great series. Now that this year's series is coming to a close, looking forward to seeing everybody at the Women's of Achievement luncheon. Thank you so much, Kim. I love you to the moon and back. Schenectady is surely blessed to have you with us. So, and to the message to everybody who is listening, go misbehave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get in trouble.
Get in trouble.
It's more fun.
Yes, it is.
Bye, Madeline.
Bye-bye.